All right, guys, welcome to Stop the Scroll, how to turn views into paying guests. Let's talk about why we're here. To cut the fluff, I think most of us are tired of chasing likes, and we're wondering why it's not translating to guests in the dining room. And so this is our moment. Like today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow up the myths that attention equals revenue and replace it with a system. It's going to actually convert for you. Because I was tired of being on the hamster wheel myself. And here's what I'll tell you. I've worked with hundreds of operators, and I don't think that it's because you're lazy or uncreative or you're bad at marketing. I think it's that you're playing by rules that don't work anymore. I think that the game changed and nobody made us aware. And so we're told to grind away on content again and again and again, and that the customers will be ready to book as a result. But that's just not what I've seen. What I've seen is that the customers are falling through the cracks. And so what I want to do is I want to fill your funnel and plug the holes. So these are your paradigm shifts for the day. I do not believe that engagement equals conversion. I do not think that a lot of likes and a lot of comments results in a lot of reservations. I do not think that likes ultimately equate to revenue, and I don't think the followers equate to frequency. I think that it's a very different use case. This whole idea that if you have a big audience, that the guests will come. Eyeballs don't pay the bills, butts in seats do. So the question is, are the tools that you have, we're talking about social media and email and all of these things, are they actually built to get you butts in seats? I would argue that they aren't yet. So today we're going to fix your funnel. The goal here is less effort and more bookings. And it's not because we're going to do more stuff the right way. It's that we're going to eliminate all of the things that we're doing that are ineffective. Smart marketing parses out everything that isn't working. It's always about less, not more. And so the goal is not to create content for content's sake. The goal is to use content as a conversion engine. And so today you walk away with the exact strategy the top operators are using to drive bookings on autopilot. For those of you that don't know me, I think a great question is like, why should you listen to me? I'm not a guru. I'm not a social media coach. I'm a Michelin-awarded restaurateur. I lived in chaos. I turned it into clarity, and I built systems around it. I've owned and operated businesses in every tier of dining in what was arguably one of the most competitive markets in the world. And the reason that I did well was because I adopted a marketer's perspective. And that's what I am hoping to gift you with today. To back up that firsthand experience, I also host a podcast called Full Comp. We've done 550 plus episodes where I've interviewed the brightest minds in and around our industry. Everyone from Will Guidara and Wolfgang Puck to Seth Godin and Robert Greene, and everyone in between. And so what I did was I cobbled together my 20 plus years of experience as an owner operator and then 500 plus interviews to create the restaurant scaling system. Some of the foundations of which we're going to be going through today. It's an unfiltered playbook. This is not one of those things where I'm going to spend the entire hour trying to prove to you that I'm smart. I'm going to give you the tactics, the tools, and the strategies that you need to effectively scale up your restaurants. And so let's go through the objectives. This isn't to get more likes. If it is, you're in the wrong room. What we're here to do is drive revenue, grow frequency, and stop wasting time on tactics that don't work. I want to rewire your funnel. And so here's the first big paradigm shift. Social media isn't the funnel. I would argue that we've been using social media the wrong way for far too long. We're looking at it backwards. It's not the closer, it's the teaser. So we treat Instagram as if it is this booking engine, when in reality, it's just the movie trailer. And nobody watches the trailer and buys the ticket on the spot. They're going to do more online research. They're going to look for validation and social proof. No one's on social media to make a buying decision. You're not on social media to make a buying decision. You're on social media to be educated. or entertained or informed. No one turns to their spouse and goes, hey, let's go out to eat tonight. I'll hop on Instagram and find out how. And then you look at the other side of that and you say, you've never been on social media, seen a patio or a piece of pie, and then dropped everything you were doing in that moment to eat that piece of pie on that patio. It just doesn't happen. It is a low intent platform. People are not there to make a buying decision. And so they want to look at your online reviews. They want to look at your website. And I would argue those are the opportunities to convert. That is when intent is at the highest. So take this as a takeaway that social directs. It's going to work in a way that it grabs attention, and then God willing, it hands it off to a better tool. So if we're looking for a model and the way to tell better stories and how to use social media more effectively, I think there are a few examples better than soap operas. Soap operas are this really, really interesting thing in the way that you can pick up a soap opera wherever you left off last time, and they will catch you up immediately. But in the earliest days of soap operas, there were these fundamental issues with it. So soap operas originated because Procter & Gamble wanted to sell soap to housewives. And so what they needed was the housewives to watch the commercials on television. And what they found was this: there's this natural arc to a story. There's the introduction, then there's conflict, then there's climax, then there's falling action, and ultimately resolution. What they found is that in a soap opera, once the climax occurs, everybody loses interest. And so everybody would fall off. But they needed people to keep watching so that they would watch more commercials. So the way that they solved this wasn't by extending the climax. It was by telling more than one story at a time. And so when you look at soap operas today, when you look at modern dramas today, they're not telling one story. They're telling 3 stories. So as a result, you get 3 introductions, 3 points of conflict, 3 climaxes, 3 falling actions, and ultimately 3 resolutions. And so they are equally pushing and pulling people through the stories. And I would argue that this is exactly how our content should work. That it's not about, here's our happy hour special. It's about, you're going to love what we have going on next. And you're telling the story around your happy hour and all of the effort that went into creating it and ideation, and you're bringing them into the conversation. And what I will provide you now is a 3-part framework that I think is a really, really actionable tool. Let me know in the chat, how many of you struggle to figure out what to post on social media? That is your biggest hurdle. Big time, we struggle. Same, I get it. Like, what do you talk about? What do you say? Like, I think that even like in having this conversation and explaining what soap operas do, it's still really hard to figure out what to say. And so what do? Like, we default to food and beverage. But when we do that, we are then commoditizing our business, right? Because now, like, you're not a restaurant and you're not a founder and you're not this advocate for your neighborhood. You're like the best margarita until you aren't. And then you're like the cheapest margarita until you aren't. And it's this race to the bottom, because I don't think that people look to us for food and beverage. I think that people look to us for experience, for dining, for eating and drinking. And so this is the framework that I created off of soap operas that my clients use to ultimately create a compelling narrative that is multidimensional. So it starts with purpose, like you. Why did you open the restaurant? Why did you choose this tier of dining? Why did you choose this building? Why did you choose this neighborhood? I just don't think that people support businesses. I think that they support business owners. I think they support the individuals within that business. I think that people support ideas. And so it starts with putting yourself out front and saying, this is who I am, this is what I believe, and this is why I think you should patronize my restaurant. Not for food and beverage, but because you support our intention in building this restaurant. I think the second is product. it's like a magic trick, right? You go to like a fine dining restaurant and everything comes out on time and everything's perfect and it feels effortless. And I think that the assumption that we made as an industry, which was dead wrong, was that people assumed it was harder than it was. And they don't. They don't assume that it's hard. They assume that if it feels effortless, that it is effortless. And so I would argue that we need to spend our time on social media showing the food, how it's sourced, how it's prepared. Like, I know there's interest in this because there's a Food Network. There isn't a food TV show. There's a whole network dedicated to behind the scenes of what we do for a living. People are very interested in it. And so to show setting up for an event makes it a lot easier to sell events. To show setting up for a big catering order makes it a lot easier to sell catering. To set up for dinner service, to show what the special is and the effort that goes into creating it is a staunch difference from just showing the end result. So as it relates to product, we show effort and we sell the feeling. The third is people. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about your team. I'm talking about your guests. Like, these people are the heartbeat of your restaurant. One of the things that we did really well was we worked to become an arbiter of taste in every neighborhood we enter. So we're not just talking about ourselves, we're talking about our regulars. We're talking about the businesses that they own in the neighborhood. We're talking about the things that they enjoy doing, because I believe that a rising tide raises all ships. I think that if you talk about your server and why they're best in the world at what they do, what they're most excited about on the menu, if like you shoot a pre-shift where they're tasting the special for the day and it's reaction shots, authentic reaction shots of them eating the food, I think it resonates with your audience. There's this social media idea that like, we're not producing content, we're simply documenting. And so if you look at this as an opportunity to document your story, your purpose, and then to document your food and how it goes from being food to eating to dining, from farm to table, I think it's really resonant. And then as it relates to people, I think that the more faces you bring in, the more attached people become to your brand. There's also this great marketing philosophy that if you talk to everyone, you're talking to no one. And so what I would strongly recommend is that you use your best guest language to describe your restaurant. Again, we go back to this idea that Seth Godin has, that people like us do these things. The people that patronize your restaurant and it is a health food brand, they also go to the gym, right? They watch what they eat. They only eat organic. Like, there are these through lines that make similar people the same. And so once we figure out who our avatar is, who our ideal customer is, we can then use their language to describe us to people, and it will resonate with them because the way they're talking about us is the way they feel about us, is the way other people who are like them would feel about us. Does that make sense? Let me know in the chat. So if they say it feels like home, you use it, right? If they say it's like the best date night spot in town, you use it because it's going to resonate. Here's a great tool that I think you guys could use immediately. So for those of you that use ChatGPT, and I would strongly recommend that you do, what you can do is you can have ChatGPT look over your social media pages and your online review sites, and you can have it pull words that come up often. You can have it pull a sentiment analysis. That way, you know what people think about you, how they think about you, what are the common threads that come up. And then we're able to utilize that language in our marketing on social media. And again, like, people like us do these things, so it will be resonant with more of the people that you're trying to get in touch with. I've been obsessed with this idea for years. Not about like, how do I get new people in, but like, how do I get more people like my favorite customers? And so I ask myself all the time, like, where are they when they're not with me? Because if I'm there, I'll get more people just like them. Does that make sense? And then what do we say when we get in front of them? We're obviously using their words, which I think are great. But again, I think that we have a tendency to prize food and beverage and service. And I don't think that people remember details. I think they remember feelings. And so, like, as you choose your messaging and choose each word wisely, you're answering 2 to 3 questions. So the first question is, like, why should this place matter to me? Number 2, how does this place fit into my life? And then, like, a third bonus is, why now? So, like, why should this restaurant be on my radar based on me and my interest? And then number 2, like, is it a place I go for dinner? Do we go out here on a romantic date? Like, if we're not calling out the specific use cases, we assume that people are going to know. And then urgency. I love a good call to action. So if you are going out for dinner this weekend, we invite you to join us. That sounds so much better than come by soon. Come by this week. Hope to see you soon. People want to be told what to do. And I think that if you do, you will see a much higher conversion rate through your social media. We're also not running Super Bowl ads here, right? So I think one of the big issues with social media is that we're talking to everybody, that we're broadcasting these big, bold things. And we're running a hospitality business. And so I think that we need to start treating social media like a two-way street. I see every like, every follow, every comment is an invitation to connect with me. And the top operators, they're spending all of their times dropping into people's DMs. They're not spamming, they're inviting. Hey, Michael, thanks for the follow. How did you find me? When was the last time you went in? You know, we're running this salmon special this weekend. Would love it if you're out, if you'd like to come by. Happy to make the reservation for you. Right? In my fried chicken joint, right? We just launched this LTO. Super excited about it. Would love for you to come by. See, we don't think in the way that marketers think, but if we did, a lot would change. I think that what we need to do is we need to look at everything that we are communicating online for what it is, which is it's an offer. It's not about broadcasting for scale's sake. It's about building one-to-one relationships at scale. So what does this look like? Really simply, 35 DMs a day. If you did 35 DMs on Instagram every day, just saying, hey, thanks for the like, thanks for the follow, thanks for the comment. And then you just ask, when was the last time you've been in? Are you local? Do you have any plans this weekend? Would love for you to come by for this thing. If you do 35 DMs a day, that would be 1,000 personalized invites a month. And I would ask you, let me know in the chat, for the love of God, when was the last time a restaurant ever reached out to you via DM? Whether they come in or not, don't you feel like that would change the way that they feel about you and your restaurant relative to everyone else? What do people want more than anything in the world? They want to feel seen and they want to feel special. And like DMs do that. It shows. It took them a second to like something, and it took you a second to copy and paste a note that says, thanks for a like. When was the last time you came in? How did you find us? And here's the thing. I have data on this because my clients do it every single week. These offers convert at an exceptionally high rate. So they're not converting at 5% or 10%. They converted at about a 25% rate. So you look at that and you say you're sending out 35 DMs a day. That's 1,000 offers a month, converting at a 25% rate. That's 250 covers that you've gotten having spent no money in almost no time. But here's the thing. They're probably not going to come alone, right? They're probably going to bring other people with them. So then what does that math look like? That off 5 minutes a day, 35 DMs a day, I brought in an extra 500 covers this month, 600 covers. It can transform your business. And what you came here for were tools, right? Like, how do I do this thing that I desperately want to do? How do I make money without spending more money? This will take you no time, and it's guaranteed to make you money. So let's talk about the shift here. So if social media isn't the funnel, then what is it? It's the spark. Social media is not going to be where bookings happen. It's where curiosity starts. And so your job on social media is to do nothing other than spark curiosity and guide them to the next logical step. Does that make sense? Let me know in the chat while I hydrate. Let's keep going. So if nobody sees your reel and hits reserve now on Instinct, where are they deciding? They're deciding on these sales pages, right? And nobody goes to your website hoping to say no. Nobody's on your Yelp page thinking, man, I really hope I'm dissuaded from doing this. They're hunting for reasons to say yes. And so on these sales pages, this is where the decision is made or lost, because this is where intent is the highest. They are trying to make a buying decision. So they've Googled, they've scanned your Yelp page, they've looked at your website. And I would ask, like, do these pages have the information they need for a potential guest that's never been in before to make a buying decision? And are you sure? I think the problem with marketing is that there are all of these inside jokes, right? That you just assume that people know these things about you, that you assume they know what the inside of the restaurant looks like. They know what it feels like to dine with you, that they know about the pedigree through which you're able to create this cuisine, but they don't. And all they're really trying to figure out is it for me? And will I like it? And so we need to make sure that when they go to all of these pages, that they are been optimized and iterated to make sure that they're converting eyeballs into butts and seats. And here's the great irony. Let me know in the chat, if you were to 80-20 of it, have you spent most of your time focused on social media or most of your time focused on these pages of highest intent? Let me know. Mostly on social media, right? And my God, doesn't that feel like a poor choice now? Knowing that like the average restaurant website actually converts at a 10% rate. That means 9 out of every 10 people that go to your restaurant's website pass. And I don't think it's that hard. I do think that they are looking for reasons to patronize your place. We just need to give them the right reasons. We need to answer their questions. So let's look at the funnel. We fought like hell on social media by posting 100 times a day to get somebody interested. And then we're losing 90% of them at the finish line. Not because the food's bad, not because your service sucks, but because your sales pages weren't built to close. And so here's the psychology that I need you to understand. People don't buy when they're confused. They don't commit when they're unsure. They don't commit unless they feel safe, when they believe that they're making the right choice. And so when we rework these sales pages, what we're rebuilding them to do is build belief fast. And these are your conversion battlegrounds. It's going to be your Yelp listing, your website, your Google listing. And these are the tools and tactics we use. So there are these 3 big pressure points. The first is photos. Like, have we all heard that people eat with their eyes? Are we all in agreement that, like, that's a thing? And so, like, when they go to your website or when they go to your Yelp listing, are there photos that you provided or your client base? Were they taken in great light or low light? Is the food half eaten? Is it gross? Is it not an accurate representation of your food? Do you even know? I always look at the photos. You always look at the photos. And yet it's an afterthought for all of us. So we want to start by controlling the visual narrative. Then it's about copywriting. Who is this for? What are you known for? When should I come in? And then calls to action. These need to be singular in nature. People only do one thing. And what you want them to do is do the best thing. Again, if there's only one absolute truth, it is that everyone that goes to your website has never been to your restaurant. Because look at your own lives. Like, once you've been to a restaurant, you never go back to their website ever again. You're never like, oh, I wonder what this restaurant's up to these days. It's just not worth doing. And so if that's the case, Everyone that you're talking to is a stranger. And so we don't want them to sign up for your mailing list or to book an event because they're not, because they've never been in before. All you want them to do is the thing that people do most often. Come by this weekend for dinner. Come by this week for lunch. And so let's dig into your photo strategy more granularly. Nobody's booking a table off like a lay flat pizza. Like, what do they want? They want energy. They want atmosphere. They want connection. You're going to want to show hands, not mouths, not mouths. You're going to want to show hands. Show laughter. Don't show empty dining rooms. Show packed dining rooms. Show moments that like somebody is really enjoying themselves and laughing out loud. People go to restaurants for connection. They're going to have an experience. And so it's not about like doing justice to the food. It's about doing justice to the experience that the food is the platform for. Does that make sense? Let me know in the chat. It's the difference between a lay flat pizza and somebody pulling one of the slices off. It's between a salad and food on a fork on top of a salad. This is critical, and it's a strategic advantage. Let's talk about copywriting. So this is where we go from descriptive to persuasive. We use organic ingredients. We believe in the highest levels of service. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about you or your restaurant or your business or your life. People only care about themselves. If you internalize that, you will become a much better marketer. And so how does that change our copywriting? It changes our copywriting simply by this. And so, and because, and thus. We only use organic ingredients because we believe you deserve the absolute best. Right? We believe in the highest echelons of service because we believe you deserve no less than that. If we can tie it back to the benefit to the customer, it then will be more resonant. So it's not just about assuming they know that great service equates to a better experience for them. It's about letting them know that like we source organic because we think it's better for them. We always tie it back to benefit. The one question that they're asking is this for me, right? And so this is how we let them know it's for them. So your calls to action, they assume a lot. Join us for a happy hour. But like who? Who should join you for a happy hour? And why? And when? And like, would you rather have people come in for a happy hour than dine with you for dinner or lunch? I think we need to speak directly to our guests. The ones that have never been in, the ones that are on these pages. And I think that like there needs to be a qualifier, like call out your people. Like if you're craving scratch cooking and personalized service, join us for dinner this weekend. Seating is limited. Like that is a conversion CTA. Where would I put that? Everywhere. Everywhere. It's on my website. It's on my social media CTAs. It's on my sales pages. It is everywhere that you could be because that is the primary use case. If you're looking for a great night out, if you're looking to celebrate your birthday, if you're looking for a great place for friends and family, if you're looking for a place to entertain your kids, like what is your use case? What is your primary use case? Call it out so that people go, oh my God, he's talking to me. So here's some truths that I think will also inform this because I know that marketing and sales has a tendency to feel yucky. When they're on your sales page, they already like you. They're just looking for permission. They just need permission to make the decision that they're already inclined to make. And we know they're already inclined to make it because they're on your website. And so all you have to do is just give them a nudge, build confidence, make it easy, just close the loop. They're looking for a reason to commit. So all we're going to do is call them out by name, eliminate the deal breakers, and make it really easy to book. Now let's talk about email. How many of you have robust email lists? How many of you are emailing your clients with frequency? Priya, yes. Michael, no. John, not enough. Here's the thing. I think it's the same with social media, right? Like, what do you say? What do you say? And ultimately, what is it used for? So here's what I would say. Email is a magic wand. Every email you send out, you should make more money every single time without exception. Otherwise, you're not doing it right. How many of you in the chat, let me know, you send out an email and you immediately make more money? Yes. Yes. No. 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 Hard to track. Okay, here's what I'll tell you. Like, it's going to be very easy to track once we fix our CTAs. So I believe email is the most underutilized tool that we have. A lot of people say that email is outdated, but let me ask you, like, when was the last time you built an email with intent to drive revenue, not just to inform people? That's the paradigm shift. Your email isn't a newsletter. It's a money printer if you use it in the right way. So every time you send the email, you make more money. And this is how you do it. I think what it starts with, first and foremost, is understanding why your guests don't return and the true function of that email. Let me ask you in the chat, how often do you think about your favorite restaurant? The one that you don't own. How often? On a daily basis, on a weekly basis? Like if it's Applebee's, are you like, oh man, I wonder how Applebee's is doing. I should go there soon. Not often. Never. Never. Rarely. Rarely. I would agree with that. Now, let me ask you another question. What would your favorite restaurant have to do to convince you to return? Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Remind me that we exist. That's what I was looking for. That's the whole thing. Here's the truth nobody talks about. Like, your guests love you, but they're busy. Like, they've got kids and jobs and lives and chaos. And so even their favorite restaurant falls off their radar. And so, like, the purpose of email is to understand that they've got a memory problem. They forgot that they love you. And all we need to do is remind them, because they don't have to give you anything. They don't have to incentivize you. They simply need to remind you that they exist and give them a worthwhile invitation to come in. There's this really interesting university study that was done. What they did was, this is a dated reference for those of you that are not my age and potentially younger. There was a time that when you needed to make copies, you would have to go to a place that made copies, that actually had copy machines, which was the era under which this experiment took place. And what they did was they had somebody in these very long lines for lunch hour where people were making copies. They had someone walk up to the front of the line and ask to skip. And the only requirement was they couldn't give a reason. So they would walk up and they would say, excuse me, sir, would you mind if I skip the line? I need to make copies. And here's what they found. 50% of the time, people would allow them to skip the line. What they found was that conversion rate went from 50% to 80% whenever a reason was supplied. But what was fascinating was the reason didn't matter. All reasons converted on average at about the same rate. Any reason worked. Hey, I've got a dog sitting in a hot car. Can I make copies? Hey, I'm really in a hurry. Can I make copies? Hey, my boss is going to kill me. Can I make copies? Any reason worked. And so what we learned as professional marketers is that any reason works. So we simply need to offer a reason that aligns with how they see the world. And so that's the purpose of email. It's to remind that they come in, to remind them that you exist, and then just to give them a reason to come in. And it doesn't even need to be a great reason. And why is this so important? It's so important because what happens to your restaurant if every guest that comes in once a month comes in twice a month? I'll answer for you. You're rich. All of your money problems just went away. And so what happens when all of your infrequent guests are coming in once a month? Well, now we're talking. And so we just need to make sure that the emails that we're sending out resonate in a way that people are willing to come back. Not that they get people off the couch, but for the people that are going out this weekend, of which there are many, that they choose you instead of the alternative. All they need is a reason. So it's going to start with data. How many of you are actively collecting data? name, phone number, email address, and birthday from everyone that patronizes your restaurant. Let me know. Just in the point of sale. I don't think it's enough. I think we've got to be active with it. I think if the pandemic taught us anything, it's that you don't actually own your customers by knowing their name and what they like to drink. I think you need their information. I've got clients that have mailing list of 3,000 and 5,000 and 10,000 and 30,000, but they don't have their birthdays. And there are 365 days in a year. And so, like, if in 365 days I can process 10,000 birthdays, I'm good. 15,000 birthdays. Like, it is a massive opportunity. So if you don't have a list, you don't have leverage. And so Geraldine asks, what's the best way to gather this info? I think that's a great question. And I think it's like the best place to start. So I don't think we can ask for data. I don't think anyone wants to join your list. I don't think anyone wants to sign up for your newsletter. I think they want to sign up for things that feel authentic and exclusive. And do you know who I think got this more right than anyone else on the planet? Is credit card companies. Because they figured out, like, what do people want? They don't really want rebates. They don't want transactional discounts, which is why Subway doesn't do that punch card anymore. What they want is status. What they want is access. So Geraldine, you come into my restaurant, you have a lovely time. And at the conclusion of the meal, I say, we're always doing something special for people's birthdays. We also have these invite-only tastings. We change out the menu seasonally, so we're always R&Ding new dishes, and we like to test that with our best customers. And so it doesn't cost anything to do. We do these quarterly, but if it's something you're interested in, I can put you on the mailing list so that you can get the invite. How does that sound? Right? We run a monthly LTO in my fried chicken joint, but before we run it in the week prior, we invite our best customers in to taste it and to give us their feedback. Would you want an invite to that? Well, just give me your name, your phone number, and your email address and your birthday, and I'll get you signed up for that. I think what people want for something that is incredibly valuable, which is their personal private information, is they want to get something that they perceive as value. I think you're worth more than a free dessert. And so as a result, I have crafted something with intention to get it done. The other thing is, I was sitting at a restaurant recently and they asked for my data. And then when the guy asked for my data, he goes, and I promise, like, we almost never reach out. What a terrible pitch. Like, what I'm trying to do with this pitch about birthday perks and invite only tastings, I'm trying to tell you that I'm going to reach out. I'm going to reach out all the time. But my commitment to you is that when I do reach out, I will reach out with inherent value, objective value that you will enjoy. You will look forward to my emails because a lot of intention went into it. And so let's talk about the birthday flywheel. As we talked about before, 10,000 emails with 27 would equate to 27 birthdays a day. And so, like, what is one irresistible offer that could equal packed nights for birthdays? What do you think that is? Like, is it a free cake? Is it free champagne? Is it free dessert? What is it? I think it's planning. One of the things that we used to do, I think timing is everything in this life. And so what I would do is I would hit you up about a month before your birthday. And I would say, hey, John, it's Josh with Pro and Proper. What do you have planned for your birthday? You don't have anything planned for your birthday. It's almost a month out. But what I did was I just triggered this anxiety in you because what are you going to do for your birthday? Now you have to decide. Now I've put you up against a wall and you don't have anything planned. And then when you say nothing, which you inevitably will, I'll then say, well, why don't you let me plan it for you? Like, all you have to do is invite 10, 15, 20 people, however many you want, and we'll plan the whole thing end to end for you. That way you don't have to worry about it this year. We would love to celebrate with you. That's it. Like, that's the pain. Like, you don't decide where you're going to host your birthday because of the amount of free stuff they give you. You don't think that way, and neither do your patrons. What you want is you want to feel seen and special and taken care of. And what I want to know is that on my special day, that I don't have to worry about anything. The painstaking effort has gone to plan this thing for me so that it is experiential and special. And all I have to do is invite people who are guaranteed to have a great time. Does that resonate? Let me know in the chat. So we're not the ones doing this. It is not John going table to table to table saying, hey, can I have your personal information? This isn't going to scale unless your team is in on it. So I think that we have to track data. I think that we're tracking covers relative to signups. I think that we're setting goals with our team. I think we're talking about it before and after every shift. I think that we're celebrating wins and we're pushing for better. There's nothing in the world more valuable to your business than customer data. Hear me now, believe me later. So we're going to keep talking about this until it becomes the culture of your restaurant, is that we have to get data, because in all tiers of dining, the backbone of your business is frequency. And now that you understand that, once your teams understand it, they will understand that like a slow Saturday is the result of a poor offer. So the only way we're going to get busy and get busy with consistency is if we are making great offers at scale. And the way we hit that scale is through the acquisition of data. Does that make sense? Let me know in the chat. So how do we do it? Because it's like really hard to get people to sell, right? Like they're not upselling your things today. They're not selling any dessert. They don't feel comfortable selling the second drink. It's like, how do we get them to do it? Well, I'll tell you how I got people to do it. I threw the birthday parties for every employee I had. I hosted the birthday parties for their family members and their friends. And they were stoked to enroll people into our birthday program and into our loyalty programs, because the folks that they knew and they loved were members too. They weren't selling it, they were sharing. Like, you should sign up for this. You should have your birthday with us. I just had my birthday here. I know I work here, but it was amazing. It was this and that and the other thing. My mom just celebrated her birthday with us. Like, if you want them to sell the thing, they've got to believe in the thing. It's got to have inherent value. And the best way to do that is firsthand experience. So we get the data and things are going well. Now, what do we do with the data? Also, a bunch of you are already sitting on a ton of data. So what do we say in email? I think this is where most of us screw it up. One thing that I've done really well in my career, and I hope that this illustrates that, is I've always had a lot of reverence for people's times. So like, if they don't come to my restaurant, what makes the email still worth opening? How can I guarantee you that no matter what, you will open an email from my restaurant? You are out of town. You are sick. There's no way you're coming in this week. How do I make that email worth your time? And so what I figured out was, it's not about updates, and it's not about this is what's going on our side of the table. I don't write marketing copy. I write love letters. So my email copy to my clients, it reads like a love letter. I'm not writing, hey, everybody, thanks so much for the money you gave me last month. It's like, hey, I just wanted to thank you so much for taking the time to open this email. I know that you're busy. If you came in this month, I want to thank you for that as well. Here's what I want to talk about this month. I share gratitude. I share what I'm excited about, and I invite them to come back for the thing that I am most excited about. I write like it is a one-to-one conversation between you and me. And as a result, my open rates, 60 to 70%, my clients' open rates, 60 to 70%, click-through rates, 5 to 10%, like incredibly high. And it's because I'm writing the emails from a very human place. We actually built a chat GPT, a custom GPT for each one of my clients that does this on their behalf, so that it's writing with one clear call to action, one vibe, one voice, and then people look forward to it. Let's get more granular because I think it's helpful. So the framework for an essential monthly email is this. I think it starts with a personalized note. And that's what sets us up as a conversation. Then we lead into either a cooking or cocktail demo that relates to the theme of the month that we link to on social media. We offered recipes from dead stock because that was of value. And then a singular call to action to do one thing that we wanted them to do this month. Because the hurdle is if you offer people 3 different experiences, they're not coming in for all 3. They're only going to come in for one. And so if that's the case, I just want to make sure I am giving them the one that I know they want to come in. Does that make sense? Let me know. Oh, you want to see? Okay. You want to see what it looks like in practical application? This is what it looks like in practical application. So let's take Valentine's Day as an example. So it would start out with Valentine's Day is my favorite holiday of the year. I met my wife on Valentine's Day and we fell in love that day. And then I would get into a cooking and cocktail demo. And I would say, this Valentine's Day, we're celebrating by cooking up this special whatever it is. Here's a link to a video of the chef walking you through what he's created for this special experience. And then below that, more value. But if you feel like cooking at home, here's one of the dishes that made my wife fall in love with me. You can click below to get the recipe, as well as images of what it should look like when it's done. This was the dish that made my wife fall in love with me. And then a singular call to action. But if you're looking to go out for a night on the town and you want it to be of the highest caliber and you want to have an incredibly memorable experience, I would invite you to join us for dinner. Seating is limited. Click below to make a reservation. It just hits different. It just like that email slaps because it comes from a really authentic place. It comes from a person, a small business owner. I think one of the mistakes that we all make is like we want to seem big, like we're these massive corporations and like I stand behind my brand. When I would say like your power is in being small. It's in being a human being that can connect on a deep foundational level with other human beings. That's what the big guys can't compete with. That is your exceptional value. Also, when we look at email, we can't be talking to everyone the same way. I think that we've got to segment our list. I think that we need to talk to different people differently based on specific use case. So like when I look at recent guests, I don't think that they want a coupon or a freebie or anything like that. I think they want to feel appreciated. People are already doing what you want them to do and they're coming back once a month or once a week, whatever that frequency looks like for you. I would just celebrate them. I would offer them exclusive access to an event or an off menu item that they'll pay for, but they get it because they're in the know. I look at infrequent guests, the guests that come less than once a month, and like I just need to give them a reason to return. But it's not going to be for some weird thing. It's going to be for the thing that I do every day. If you haven't been to my fine dining restaurant in more than a month, all I want you to do is come in for dinner. That's all I want you to do. I don't want you to come in for anything else. I know why you need me. I know why you love me. Just come in for that thing. In my fast casual concept, it was come by this week for lunch. That was our core use case with our infrequent guests. That's what we try to get them back in for. And lost guests. I love a lost guest because I think that's where we get true insight into our business. So for lost guests, I just want to reconnect with them. And this is the most effective strategy I found to do it. So for lost guests, I don't send an email. I would send a text message. This text message had a 98% open rate and an 85% reply rate. And why? Because it was human. It would say, hey, this is Josh from Pru and Proper. You haven't been in a while, and I'm curious, did we break up? Was it you or was it me? An 85% reply rate. And it didn't win because it was clever. It won because it was real, because it was in the brand's voice, because they knew that I was on the other end, that I was receiving the information. And the information I got was incredibly valuable. Sometimes we did a poor job. Sometimes there were missteps in service that this made me aware of. Or alternatively, they got a job, or they lost their job, or they got married, or they got divorced, or they had a child, or they moved. And so I want to know what's going on. But what I can tell you for these texts is that by and large, we recaptured most of the available business that there were. Because again, people felt seen, they felt special. And so the X factor in all of this is authenticity. Authenticity always wins. The best marketing strategy in the world won't work if it sounds like it was written by ChatGPT. I think our guests want us, our voice, our value, our vibes. And that's not to say that you can't amplify and pick that up at scale by using these amazing AI softwares. But the unlock is the right message to the right person at the right moment. Don't build for them, build for you and share it. And as it relates to building for you, we need to discuss what makes a great offer. So again, whether you realize it or not, everything you put out on social media is an offer. Everything you put out via email is an offer. A story is an offer for attention. A photo is an offer for interest. An email is an offer for action. And the question is, are your offers strong enough to move people? And what is guaranteed to get someone moving? What would get you moving? And so offers that don't work are generic, stale, and they don't move anyone. By and large, this is what we do when we are building for other people. The mistake that we make is that we externalize desire, right? I've got this fine dining restaurant that I work with, and he hit me up and he goes, we want to get busier late night. What do you think about pitching 2 for 1? And I asked him, I said, you're a fine dining concept. Would you go to a fine dining concept that offered you 2 for 1 drinks? And he goes, no. I said, then it won't work for anyone else. We are our own best audience. You open this for you as an extension of self. So we need to make sure that our offers are enough to get you off the couch, you out your house, and you into a restaurant. And so your offer needs to be more exciting than Netflix and DoorDash and all of these competitors in the space. If I have just one superpower, it's that I am incredibly ordinary, and I realized I was ordinary very early on in life. What I like, most people like. And so as a result, if I just do things that would motivate me, I find that they motivate other people as well. So here's the checklist. It's got to feel valuable. It needs to be as simple as is humanly possible. They need to have a real, legitimate reason to act now. A bonus, if people are already loving it, that would be amazing. Social proof is incredibly valuable. And let's make it easy to use. LTOs, weekend specials, they work really, really well, and they don't need to be discounted. They just need to be different. Again, they don't need a great reason to come in. They just need a reason. And so all high-performing offers, they share 3 traits. Those 3 traits are that it feels exclusive, meaning it feels like it is just for them. It is just for your audience. It's experiential, which means it adds memory, not just savings. And it's enticing, which means that there's a reason to act now. I believe, based on what I am seeing with my clients, this is the gold standard. And offers that fall outside of this are going to fall flat. Here's some examples. At Dave's Pizza, we are indeed pizza pies for our VIP list only. So we had these amazing LTOs that we launched, but you could only get it if you were on the mailing list. So it drove enrollment, but then it also drove sales within our most interested audience. At Tessa's Place, we offered early access to a seasonal menu. So if you can envision a world where we launched a seasonal menu, and we launched a seasonal menu using content that we had created the week before by releasing it early to our VIP list. It was incredible. And you're not hearing anything about discounts, right? Just exclusivity, access, and experience. Because truly, that's what gets people excited. And so this is the test. Not would it save you $5, but would it pull you off the couch in sweats on a Thursday night? And if it wouldn't, it's not strong enough. And so you just need to go back and turn up the volume. Use your internal meter to determine whether this is worthwhile or not. Also, before you begin to build Thursdays, let's look to on-peak business. Let's try and build the weekend. So as you create offers, try and create offers that inspire when people are already out. So as we wind down, let's go through what we talked about today. You know how to use social media to spark intent. You know how to plug the leaks in your conversion funnel. And you know how to build repeat visits with messaging that feels personal. And as a result, like you've got the formula for offers that actually work. And to me, this is a complete playbook. And so I hope that you don't let it stay theory. I hope that you take action today. As you are aware, your Yelp profile is getting hundreds, if not thousands, of hits every single month. You need to optimize that listing. And the team over at Yelp, if you will email them at restaurants@yelp.com, is more than happy to support you in that effort, helping you optimize your listing. And if you like me and you're interested in what I said and you want more of it, every month I host a free 5-day restaurant profitability masterclass. You can sign up for that on my website, joshkopel.com. And there I will run you through these tactics, tools, and strategies, and so much more as it relates to scaling your per customer average, increasing frequency, and creating a flood of new customers without spending a ton of money. If you have questions on anything, you'll be able to reach out to me directly. I do know that there is a recording of this event that will be available. And so if you need anything, let me know. I know you're busy. I know that you guys are short on time and short on bandwidth. So I appreciate you giving me an hour of your time. And I hope that it was worth it. And I will see you next month.